question many times is asked is, what are the qualifications of a scholar? Well, a scholar needs to be qualified in the terms of fiqh al-ma'mulat. His knowledge of Sharia is obviously got to be there. The educational system comes from there. Many universities and colleges that offer courses in Sharia and Islamic law and jurisprudence, all the way from in the region from Al-Azhar, which is one of the oldest universities in the world, to St. Andrews in Edinburgh and things. So there are lots of ways that a scholar gets educated, but most important is really in terms of the value and demand for a scholar emanates from the fact that his English is good, his knowledge of Sharia, of course, is understood, the question of knowledge of banking terms and products and structures, economics, law, accounting, because they have to do the Sharia audit, etc. So all of those things come in to be sure that the scholars have that background. And that's why we have this handful of scholars. There's no shortage of scholars. The shortage comes from the language restrictions or the knowledge and exposure and experience. The more exposure and experience a scholar has, the better he can deal with issues. And that's why I personally feel that a lot of the scholars should take on apprentices and groom them and promote them so that there is a legacy goes on beyond them. And a lot of them are setting up consultancies, which I think is the future. Even AOFI had it as one of the topics of consideration when they had their annual conference in Bahrain. Consultants also offer something that, for example, nowadays AOFI's requirements are for 3 scholars minimum. And the scholars also prefer that because then they have an uneven number and you need a unanimous decision. Also, more important is that with a Sharia board appointed by an institution that they have appointed themselves, they have reputational risk, as I mentioned earlier. They also have issues of what happens if a scholar was to die or unable to perform. You've got 2, and if something was to happen, you have to then hunt around for a 3rd scholar. But if you have an institution or a consultancy which may have 3, 4, 5 scholars on its roster, on its panel, then you know you've got 3 to sign out of 5. And that makes life a lot simpler and easier. And I think more and more you will see that the consultancies will come forward, the scholars will be part of consultancies, and the consultants will end up becoming like law firms.